Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Goldie and this is the Lazy Ballerina Club. Welcome to part 2 of the how to navigate college in your ballet career conversation. I am so glad that you enjoyed Monday's video as much as you did. If you haven't watched it already, I will link it up here. I chatted with my old roommate, my best friend, Hannah Keene, and how she managed to finish her entire college experience as she was pursuing her dream as a professional ballet dancer. But I'm so excited for this video because I am hopping on another Zoom call with another one of my sweet friends, Whitney Huell. Whitney and I danced together in Kansas City Ballet. I have always looked up to Whitney. It was such a great conversation and I'm so excited for you guys to listen to this interview because Whitney's experience and her path to success with college and her ballet career is so interesting and so inspiring. Before I talk all about it for like 20 minutes, I think we should just get into the interview so you can hear all of this information from Whitney herself instead of me talking for a million years like I always love to do. Like always, make sure you are subscribed down below, like this video, and let's start the interview with Miss Whitney Huell. Welcome to the channel, Whitney. I'm so happy you're here.
Exciting to be here. Thank you.
So like I mentioned in my first video earlier this week, we are talking about college and what to do as you are pursuing your career as a ballet dancer, when to go, when you shouldn't go, all of that good stuff. So Miss Whitney, I want you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you go to school and all of that good stuff?
I am Whitney Huell. I actually went to college before I danced. And so I'm dancing currently with Kansas City Ballet. I'm a company dancer with them. And prior to that, I was with Ballet West. And then before that, I was with the second company at Ballet West. So after high school, once I graduated, I went to Indiana University and was in the IUBT, their ballet theater there, and it was a good option. I, of course, wanted to dance right after high school, but and had my dreams on Dance Theater of Harlem, but the year I graduated high school was the year they folded.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like crushed because that's exactly where I was going to go. I didn't have any other options, but I had applied to the ballet program at IU and gotten in. And I actually had already deferred because you can do that. You can defer for up to 2 years and then decide to go later. So once I heard that the company wasn't still going, I undeferred. So I ended up going that year right after high school. And it was a great transition. I really liked it because I was still with people my age that were really serious about ballet still. It wasn't like, it was a really, really good ballet program. And it was kind of a good setup to be in a company because once I got into a company, it was kind of run very similar. At least at the time when I was at IU, it was. So we did our academics in the morning, and then from 11 to like 6, we had ballet. So it was like a full ballet day kind of thing. And then in the evening, I would do more academics. And there they know that you want to get to dancing. So they encourage you to, I remember one of my teachers was like, you're ready, like my 3rd year. He was like, you're ready to dance. And so I made it happen where I was graduated in 3 years. So like there you can take 19 credit hours a semester. I was taking over the summer. I was like, my goal was to get the degree and get out. But then also it was nice because it's not just a degree in ballet. They have something called an outside field where you can get, it's like more than a minor and less than a major, but it's still within your degree. And it was really nice because my outside field is in psychology, something completely different from dance. So that will be helpful when I'm done dancing, or, you know, if I want to shift gears, I'll already have some kind of education in another field.
Wow.
So
well, first, before we go any further, you guys watching are learning as I am learning. All of this is news to me. Whitney and I danced together at Kansas City Ballet, and I came in as a second company dancer. Whitney was already a beautiful, established, gorgeous dancer in the company that I always looked up to. And just a side note, Whitney Huell is sunshine in a person. You are the most positive, most amazing person in that studio. So I just wanted to add that before we go any further. And I'm so happy we are speaking. First of all, I had no idea that the year that you wanted to get into a company, Dance Theater of Harlem, folded. So I can't even imagine how that shifted your entire focus and your path to becoming a professional ballet dancer. That must have been very stressful and heartbreaking and all of those things. How did that feel in that moment?
Yeah, it was really crushing because that was my plan. Like, because I had gone to their summer program the past 2 summers, and Arthur Mitchell loved me. He was like, "You're coming here, right? When you're done with school, you're coming." Like, he would say that, and I was like, "Yay, I have a place to be." They were still performing at Lincoln Center when I was at the summer program, and so I was like, "This is where I want to be." They did like Serenade and St. Louis Blues and all these ballets and these beautiful black bodies, and I was like, this is where I want to be.
Wow.
So when I think it was my modern teacher that told me, she goes, "Whitney, they're folding. That's not an option for you."
Oh.
And I started crying. I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And luckily, I was really into academics in school. So I had applied to 4 colleges. I think NYU, I had gotten into the Tisch School of the Arts program there, a school called Furman, that's in South Carolina. And that was like if I didn't dance at all, like kind of options to good school. And then Fordham. And then I also applied to IU. And then I had done the deferment thing. But yeah, Goldie, I was so crushed. I mean, it was like my dreams were like taken from me, is what it was like. And going to college, I didn't know what it was going to be like. I just thought that it kind of meant that I wouldn't end up being a ballet dancer anymore, kind of. Even though it was a good school, I was like, not many ballet dancers go to college, like especially when I was in school. And so I was just kind of, it made me feel like I wasn't going to reach my dream,
Interesting.
But once I got there and saw the talent in the program, I was like, wow, these girls are really good. It was there, there were only 5 of us in my class. So it was myself or other dancers in my freshman class. It was a really small class.
Wow.
We were really close, and we were all very dedicated to dance. And yeah, it was really great, that connection I had with them. Like, we all like partied together. It was, I ended up rooming with one of them, and then I was in her wedding like last year. So not last year, but the year before. So it was like, friendships I made that have lasted this long, and then it still got me to the career in dance as well. So
that is so amazing. So going back a little bit, when you were in high school, did you do a traditional high school all 4 years?
Yeah. So I went to a school called the Governor's School for the Arts and Humanities, performing arts high school, but also boarding school. So, and the dancers can come as early as 9th grade. So I lived away from home since 9th grade, but it was So I went there. It was in Greenville, which is about 2 hours from where my family was. And so, yeah, I did it. I was there from 9th to 12th grade and graduated from there.
Wow. So that must have, moving away from home in 9th grade, that is young. I felt like it was young when I was 17 and I moved away. I couldn't even imagine doing that, but I'm sure that set you up for your college experience. So it wasn't too much of a transitional time. So once you get to Indiana University, you see program, you already shifted your focus a little. We have to get this school done. Dance Theater of Harlem is no more. And walk me through like a typical day in the dance program at IU.
Yeah, so going there, you get set up in your dorm and stuff like that. So I lived, and it was called Reed. I don't even know if these dorms are still there. But anyway, right across the Musical Arts Center, which is where all the dance was. But I think I had about 2 academic classes before I went to ballet. So I think maybe I went to like Spanish class and then math class, and then I would walk to Musical Arts Center, which was nice. It was like inside the theater. So it was very similar to like when you go to Europe, when their theater is in the same place as where they rehearse, and everything's in the same place. It was
right.
So we went there, and then we would have class. The whole program was split up into 2 classes. So, and it was mixed between freshmen and seniors. Like, so they just randomly split us up. into two different classes. And yeah, so we would just have like a teacher teach a class, and then we would have point class, and then we would either have variations or work on our rep, which was, I think we did like maybe 3 shows a year. We did Nutcracker, I think we did a fall performance, and then we did a spring performance.
Wow.
And usually it was like the spring would be like a story ballet, like Cinderella or something. The fall would be like a mixed rep, and then obviously Nutcracker for around Christmas. Well, before we would leave on Christmas break.
Right.
So
that's a great, like, you are on that stage, 3 programs in the year. That is really amazing. So did you find it difficult to balance your schoolwork with your ballet workload? How did you manage that?
it came pretty naturally, I think, because of governor school, my high school, because that's how it was there. Like, we did academics in the morning, then we went to ballet, then, we did more academics, and then we went back to ballet there, and then we did our homework at night. So I was kind of already in that kind of routine. So it wasn't that much different, except for I had to walk a whole lot further to get to my classes, and it was a lot more people around, and
Right.
a lot more distractions at college than in high school and stuff. And
Right. Wow, I'm so interested in your story, and I have so many questions. And okay, so you get to Indiana University. I can't believe there are only 5 girls in your class. That is amazing, because when I never went to college, I went straight into my ballet life. So when I think of a college program, I think of it as a bigger program. You're in a big group of girls. Maybe you're not getting the same attention, but you are telling me that you had all of the attention.
I don't know what it was, but our year, I mean, there were 6 of us total. There was a guy, Ed, who actually ended up dancing with at Ballet West.
Wow.
And 5 women, and then one of the women ended up leaving, so there were 4 of us and we were all really close. But the year before, I think there were like maybe 12 to 20 girls. Like, the whole program was only about, not 20, the whole program was about 40 something dancers.
Okay.
So it was like a company, like a
Right.
size company. But yeah, ours was like unusually small, our class.
But that is amazing, especially in those years. I remember at my year-round program, those years at that college age is so important before you get into a company. So I'm sure that you got all of the attention and your teachers. So looking back at those years, do you think going to college prepared you for company life?
Oh yeah, 100%. And there I got more exposure to outside choreographers than I did in high school. So in high school, there were a few people, like our modern teacher was from outside, our jazz teacher was from outside, and then Bobby Barnett, who used to dance with New York City Ballet, he would come and set a few things. But that was the only people that had ever come from outside to like actually set rep. So at IU, we had Elise Bourne came and set like some of Who Cares. We had a lot of outside people come, and then we even had a lot of guest artists, like Julie Kent came and did Sugar Plum. Like, we were seeing all these stars, like dancing with us and like teaching. Like, they would come and they would also teach us. So it was like, it was nice to get more of a sense of like company life, having these people from major companies come in.
Yes.
And then also the rep was a lot more diversified than what I was used to. As far as like Valentine ballets and things like that, like they did those. So that was nice exposure. And then also the full lengths, I hadn't really done many of those because, we were a small dance program where I came from. So with 40 dancers, you can do a lot. So we did Cinderella, Nutcracker, and things like that I hadn't done before, which was nice.
Wow. So you're in IU, you are coming on your senior year. What was the kind of transitional process to start auditioning for companies? How did that work once you were still in school?
Yeah, well, I didn't plan on graduating in 3 years. Like, I assumed I would just be there 4 years.
Oh, right.
But money started to become an issue because it was an out-of-state school. It was very expensive, and like my parents were like, we can't really afford to have you go there another year. So that was one of the major like pushes to get me to like get it together, do kind of thing. And also another dancer in the program would go to these open auditions. She's like, and she asked me, she's like, do you want to come with me? And she was just driving to like this random audition. And she was actually younger than I was. She was a year below me. And I was like, sure, I'll come with you, you know? And so that's how I auditioned for Joffrey, I think it was. I went with her to an audition for Joffrey. And I made it to the end, and then they were like, yeah, we might have an apprenticeship for you. And I was like, oh yay, you know. And then they didn't end up having anything, but they must have gotten my information to Adam Sploot somehow. And so he ended up calling me that summer asking if I was interested in the second company.
Wow.
And so for Ballet West. And so that's how I got my job at Ballet West. But what I was doing for auditioning was just going to open auditions that were nearby in the Midwest. With other dancers in the program, like on the weekends or whatever.
I think that is such an important thing to touch on when you are entering into those company auditions or starting to dip your toes into the professional ballet life. You have no idea whose eyes are on you or what connections that you can make. And even if you think that you are in the back of a cattle call, you are the perfect proof and example that the reason why you got your first job was from that audition that you didn't even get anything from, which that is so interesting. And I think that is so valuable. Like that information is so valuable because I mean, I remember my first company audition and it feels like the most overwhelming thing to ever do. So I think that is so, so, so great. So you got your second company spot at Ballet West. And so when did you get that and how much more school did you have to do before you went?
Well, the thing is, I didn't even know all that was going to happen. Like, so I had auditioned for Joffrey. They said, we'll call you soon. It was around probably May, like that they said that they would call me about the apprenticeship. And then I also had a trainee option at Cincinnati. And that wasn't as well paid. I was really hoping for Joffrey, obviously.
Right.
And then when that fell through, I think they called me and they were so nice. They were like, we really like you. We encourage you to audition next year, but unfortunately we don't have any positions open. And so I was crushed. I was set to graduate. I needed like I think 12 more credits to graduate. So I went ahead and walked. Like I walked for my graduation in May with all the other seniors. And I was a junior, but I was like joining their class for walking. And I actually graduated technically in August of 2007. So I just finished school at home because I had just needed all these credits to graduate that I didn't have to take at IU. I took them at a community college at home. So I get home, I'm taking all this school. I'm really like scared about life, not really sure what I'm going to be doing. And I literally was driving, I think, to an astronomy class.
Oh my gosh.
I got the call from Adam. I didn't know what the number was. I was like, hello? And he goes, is this Whitney? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, I'm Adam Sploot. Like, you know, he didn't even say where he got my information. I assume it was Joffrey because that's where he came from before he went to Ballet West. And then he just said, can you send me some materials of you dancing? So I think I sent like a variation. We had done Napoli at IU, and we had also done Cinderella. So I think I sent him Autumn Fairy variation and then also a Napoli variation. And then the next day he said, you know, you got to have the job. So I found out, I think probably in June or July, I found out like this. And then I had to make plans to move to Salt Lake, and we started in August.
Oh my goodness. What a story, Whitney. I had no idea. That is wild. That is so wild.
But also like, it was like the stars aligned. I was like,
oh,
thank you. Like,
totally. And just going back to that moment once you were graduating high school and Dance Theater of Harlem, your dream folded and your whole entire path and life shifted and the stars aligned. And that is so, so, so amazing. So going back to your time at IU and talking about going to school before your career started, what were the major positives looking back now with all of the information that you know now in your career in ballet? What were those key positives that you're so grateful that you did the way that you did?
I'm really glad that I already have gone to school and I have a degree, because I know that a lot of dancers, I think during the pandemic, they've realized, it's good to have a backup. And so I've seen like a lot of dancers going to school, getting into school, getting a lot of credit hours done in this time where, they're unsure. And so for me, it was kind of like, oh, I'm so glad, I at least have my bachelor's, maybe I could work on a master's or something like that. So I am glad I have that, like it's not like those 3 years were completely lost because I have, something to fall back on.
Right. Right.
And also it was great for, I think, socialization skills.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because being in ballet, you can be a little sheltered. And so when I went to college, you're not just with dancers, like that's a huge school. So
Yeah.
I got like exposed to a lot of different people, and especially people in the Midwest where I wasn't, I'm from the South. So that was a different environment. It was a different weather. Like I was like, what is this cold? Like I'm not used to this. That was good too, how it exposes you to like different experiences and how you can learn how to really live on your own. You have to decide what you're going to eat. You have to decide, like, because your mom's not making you meals. You don't go to just like, you can choose what you want. You can eat really bad or you can eat really well.
Right.
It's really good for you to gain independence and figure out what is good for you, make mistakes, but also, learn from those mistakes,
Yes, I think that's an amazing thing to bring up, because even myself, when you are so young in a company environment, I remember living in Washington, D.C. and figuring out what to get at the grocery store as an 18-year-old. And I'm like, how do I plan for the week? How am I supposed to be professional and learn all of these things at once? So I think that is such a great point that you had those years in college to make those mistakes and learn with your peers in your ballet class, that you were all kind of learning together. Because once you get into that professional life, you need to be professional and you need to have all of those things in lock. So, I mean, those are great, great positives. And actually, when I had a conversation with Hannah earlier this week, we were talking that her schooling was the escape from her ballet, because sometimes when you're in a company, all you talk about is casting and rehearsal and what's going on in the studio. So I think it is so great that you had that experience and that other like normal life before entering the ballet world. So with all of those positives, let me hear some of those negatives that maybe weren't so amazing.
Well, negatives, number one would be cost. Like I'm still paying student loans. Like,
Yeah.
and hopefully I can get them paid in like 1 to 2 years now. I've really been trying to knock it out, but it's the hugest burden, Goldie. Like, and for someone to be 21, I was 21 when I went into Ballet West 2, and like, you're with other dancers that are younger because you went in later, so most of my friends were younger than me, like 2 to 3 years younger than I was.
Right.
And you have to make a decision as, can I go out to eat with them, or should I save this to pay for my monthly payment on my student loans? Like
Right.
that kind of thing. And that's a huge it's a huge burden, and you're not making any money when you first go into these second companies, So
Right.
that is number one. Like, you can get a scholarship if parents are willing to pay. Like, it's so much stress financially if you do go to school and have to pay with student loans and have to worry about that for years and years and years. I mean, yeah, it's going to cost money no matter what if you go to school, but just know that, unless you have, some sponsorships or something where you're not going to be making enough money to, it's going to be a burden. So that's probably the biggest thing.
Yes.
Honestly, I can't really think of anything other than that. Like, that's probably, and then also feeling a little bit older than everybody else when you get there.
That is a bit, yes. I'm so happy that you just brought that up.
Yeah. So, I joined the second company. I was 21. Everybody else was like 18, 19. So you do feel kind of like, oh, like I'm kind of old, but it's okay. Like, I'm kind of a young soul. Like,
You sure are.
most of my friends are younger than me, even after college. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of youthful kind of person. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm so much more mature than these people. I don't want to hang out with them. Like, we got along great. Like, they were, you know, they're some of my best friends, you know. Right. But you do kind of feel like I'm old. Like, that's how you feel. But then once I got into the main company, I felt better. You know, I was like, okay, I still made it happen, even though it just happened later. And everybody has different paths, you know, like some people will go in right after school. Some people don't join a company until much later, you know, and still do really well. But that's probably the only other kind of negative, just because, you know, the career's so short, you want to get to dancing as soon as possible.
Right. Did you ever feel like you were playing catch up when it came to like your actual technique or the environment, or?
Not really, because it was like, you know, Violette Verdi was a teacher. Like, we had Michael Vernon came in, Jacques Sesbron. Like, we had really good teachers and coaches and things like that. So like, as far as like technique is concerned, not really. I did have to get used to taking class on point change, because we'd had technique class and then we had point class. Right. So I went to a company. I was like, what is this? Just the one class? Like, my feet aren't ready for these shoes. Right. You know, after bar, people are putting on their point shoes and I'm like, what are they doing? Like, why center on point? And then I felt like I needed to. And then I was busted because I wasn't used to that. Just throwing on shoes like that.
And that's a huge adjustment. I had that same adjustment when I got into my year round, and I'm like wobbling. I can't even do a single combination.
I was like, I need a point class. What's wrong with these people? But that's all you get. And no one really tells you that, you know, until you're there. And so what I started doing actually was taking all of class on point. Like, I would do, because I was like, it's all or nothing, because I'm going to look a mess if I try to put these bricks on before center, you know?
Yes.
Feet like this, so I need them warm. So I just started wearing them for bar, and I noticed like a few of my friends would do that, and I asked, I was like, so why do you do that? And they're like, oh, so my feet will be ready. I'm like, maybe I do that too.
Yes, I have seen it firsthand. 9 a.m. you are putting those point shoes on, and I am like wiping the sleep out of my eyes, like looking over, like my toes are hurting just watching you. But similar, Hannah did that as well. She just felt like the transition from bar to center, how could she warm up in flat and then put point shoes on? So yeah, that is a big transition. I remember that transition, and it is serious doing full class on point. But last question, I don't want to end this. I just want to talk to you for hours and hours and hours. But if you had to go back and do it all over again, would you do the same path, or how do you feel about the path that you chose?
I feel like if all the things happened that did happen, yeah, I would choose the same thing. Like, it was, you know, college was really, really fun, Goldie. Like, you know, not just ballet. Like, ballet was great there. But it's nice to kind of still feel like, you know, I could go home for the winter breaks, and like I still was home quite a bit, because, you know, those breaks are really long when you're in college. It was really nice to feel like to be a college student was really nice, and to meet so many people, and to, you know, continue school, because I did love school. I didn't want that to stop either. If anything, I probably would have prepared financially better to pay for school. But other than that, all the steps are the same.
Thank you so much for talking with me and being a guest on this channel. I appreciate you so, so, so much. And let us know where we can follow you and watch you dance and support you.
So I'm on Instagram, and my handle is JUELL, so @JUELL.
Amazing.
So that's it.
Amazing. Thank you, Whitney. I love Whitney so much. I mean, that path to success in her ballet career and her college career was so mind-blowing to me. I was learning about her path just as you were learning about it. This was all news to me. I had no idea how she got to the place that she was in her ballet career and how her college experience was. So it was so great to get all of that insight. And again, I think I mentioned it in Monday's video. I'm thinking about doing a part 3 to this series to talk about my school experience, why I decided not to go to college and go straight into my career, and all of the info that goes along with my journey. But Whitney is the perfect example of finding success after you've already accomplished your college degree. She was able to get a job after she graduated. Now she is deep in this amazing professional ballet career. You have no idea what could happen in your career. You have no idea what opportunity might present itself when you feel like maybe you got rejected or the doors were closing on you. But Whitney's story, the proof that we all need to remember that everything happens for a reason. When one door closes, the other door opens. Guess that is it for today's video. Like always, make sure you are subscribed down below. Like this video. I will see you later. Bye, guys.